Imagine waking up and the first thing you notice is the dark. Not the soft, comforting dark of a bedroom with a nightlight down the hall. The real dark. The kind where you cannot see your own hand in front of your face, where every sound might be wind or might be something with teeth, and where the only thing separating you from everything that wants to kill you is a fire that someone has to keep burning all night, every night, for their entire life. Now imagine this is not a single bad night. This is every night of your existence for roughly 300,000 years. We have this image of ancient humans that is almost peaceful, living in harmony with nature. Fresh air, simple problems, no emails. But here is the truth that nobody tells you. Being an early human was not peaceful. It was a horror movie where you were both the victim and the final girl, and you did not know which role you were playing until the credits rolled. Except there were no credits. There was just the next day, if you survived it. And here is the uncomfortable part. If you were dropped into that world tonight with everything you currently know, your degree, your smartphone, your gym membership, your entire modern brain, you would probably be dead within a week. Not because you are not intelligent, because intelligence alone was never the thing that kept them alive. The thing that kept them alive was something darker, something we have almost entirely forgotten how to do. Let us start with the thing you use least and they used most. Your nose. Ancient humans lived in a world with no labels, no expiration dates, no inspection certificates, no doctors to tell you whether that cut on your arm was going to heal or kill you. The nose was not just a nose, it was technology. It answered the questions that determined whether you lived or died every single day. Can I eat this? Is this water safe? Should we sleep here? Is that animal fresh? Is this person sick? Is something wrong nearby? Every one of those questions had a smell attached to it. Rot had a smell. Bad water had a smell. Wounds going septic had a smell. Predators had a smell. And if you got any of those answers wrong, you did not get a second chance. You did not get a course correction. You got dead. What is wild is how much information they were processing through smell alone. Researchers studying modern hunter-gatherer groups have documented the ability to identify individual animals by scent, to track wounded prey across kilometers using nothing but their nose, to detect water sources before they could see them, and to identify specific plant species by the smell of crushed leaves, all skills that most modern humans have completely lost. We outsourced our noses to labels and apps and expiration dates. They had to become the sensor. But here is where it gets darker. It was not just about finding food and water. Smell was also their early warning system for each other. If someone in your group was getting sick, you could smell it before they showed symptoms. If an infection was taking hold in a wound, you could smell it before it became visible. If a predator had passed through your camp while you were gone, you could smell it before you saw the tracks. Your nose was constantly scanning for threats that your eyes could not see yet. And the cost of missing one was catastrophic. Now let us pause for a second and do something uncomfortable. Look at your body right now. Any small ache you have been ignoring, a stiff neck, a sore back from that chair, a tooth that twinges when you drink something cold. In your world, those are annoyances. In theirs, any one of those could have been the beginning of the end. There were no painkillers. Let that sink in for a moment. Not just no ibuprofen, nothing. No willow bark tea, unless someone in your group had discovered it and taught everyone else, and you happened to be near a willow tree. No alcohol unless your culture had figured out fermentation, which most had not for most of human history. No numbing agents of any kind. Cut your foot. Walk it off. And keep walking because the group is not stopping for you. Get kicked in the ribs during a hunt. Hunt anyway. You do not get to sit this one out. Toothache? Chew on the other side. For years, for decades, there are fossilized skulls from the Paleolithic with teeth so worn down from a lifetime of grit and stone-ground food that the pulp is exposed. And those people lived with that pain every single day. Think about what that does to a human being psychologically. Not just the physical experience of unrelenting pain, which is bad enough, but the knowledge that there is nothing you can do about it. No end point. No appointment next Tuesday. No take 2 of these and call me in the morning. Just pain that might last for the rest of your life, and that life might be another 20 or 30 years. And infection? Infection was a death sentence you had to watch unfold in slow motion. A thorn in your foot that got dirty. A scrape from a branch that went bad. A bite from an animal that was not even trying to kill you, just defending itself. Any of these could turn into an infection that would spread through your body over days or weeks, while you and everyone around you watched it happen, completely powerless to stop it. There were no antibiotics, no stitches, no surgical interventions. Your body either won the fight or it did not. And if it did not, that was it. The fossil record bears this out. Archaeologists find skeletons with healed fractures, with bone infections that scarred over, with teeth abscessed so badly the infection ate through the jawbone, and the bone kept growing around it, meaning the person survived. They lived through things that would send a modern human to the emergency room in a panic. Not because they were tougher, because they had no choice. The alternative was death, and death was patient. But pain during the day was manageable compared to what happened at night. Because here is the thing about sleep. For every other animal on Earth, sleep is the most vulnerable state imaginable. Your eyes are closed, your muscles are paralyzed. Your brain is in a state of reduced awareness. You are essentially a warm, breathing, defenseless package of calories lying motionless in the dark for hours at a time. For ancient humans, sleep was not rest. Sleep was the single most dangerous thing you did all day. Every night, predators hunted. Lions, leopards, hyenas, wolves, bears. All of them are most active in the hours when humans are least capable of defending themselves. And ancient humans knew this. They did not have walls. They did not have locks. They had fire, and fire was everything. Fire meant safety. Fire meant warmth. Fire meant a perimeter that most predators would not cross. But fire also meant someone had to stay awake to tend it. Every single night, someone in the group was awake while everyone else slept, feeding the flames, listening to the dark, watching for movement beyond the light. For their entire lives, generations upon generations of humans taking shifts in the darkness so that the others could close their eyes without dying. This is why humans are so deeply, biologically drawn to fire. This is why sitting around a campfire still feels primal and soothing and safe in a way that is hard to explain. It is not nostalgia. It is inherited memory. For hundreds of thousands of years, firelight meant you were not going to die tonight. The people who found fire comforting survived. The people who did not, statistically, got eaten. That feeling you get staring into flames, that is your ancestors telling you you are safe. And archaeologists have found evidence that early humans did more than just burn fires. At sites like Sibudu Cave in South Africa, researchers discovered plant bedding from roughly 77,000 years ago. Sedges and aromatic plants layered with fine ash. The ash was not accidental. It made it harder for crawling insects to move through the bedding. They were pest-proofing their sleeping spaces with the byproducts of fire, thousands of generations before the first mattress was ever invented. They understood that a good night's sleep was a survival strategy. But even with fire and ash and carefully chosen bedding, there was a threat they could not burn away. Their own bodies were turning against them. Once humans started wearing clothes regularly, animal hides wrapped around their bodies for warmth and protection, they created something no species had ever created before. A new ecosystem. A warm, dark, fabric-lined environment that moved with them everywhere they went. And nature, being nature, filled that ecosystem immediately. Body lice. Not head lice. Body lice are a different species entirely. They live in clothing, hide in seams, and lay their eggs in fabric rather than hair. Genetic studies suggest body lice split from head lice at least tens of thousands of years ago, possibly much earlier, which means the moment humans started wearing clothes regularly, Parasites evolved specifically to exploit that behavior. The first wardrobe did not just change fashion, it created real estate, and these were not minor annoyances. Lice carried disease. They caused constant, maddening itching. They made sleep even harder than it already was. And ancient humans had no way to get rid of them completely. They could comb, they could pick, they could smoke their clothes over fires, but the lice always came back because they were living in the one thing you could not take off. The clothing that kept you from freezing to death. One of the most incredible artifacts from the ancient world is a comb from Lachish, about 3,700 years old, carved from ivory. It has an inscription on it, one of humanity's earliest written messages, and it basically says, "Please get these bugs out of my hair and beard." Let that sink in. Writing, one of the most important inventions in human history, was partially motivated by the desperate need to complain about parasites. Your ancestors were so plagued by lice that when they finally figured out how to write things down, one of the first things they wrote was a plea for relief. Grooming was not vanity. Grooming was survival. In many primate species, grooming is social glue. It builds trust, reduces tension, and requires physical closeness that reinforces group bonds. For early humans, checking each other's hair and skin for parasites was both practical and deeply social. It was less spa day and more, "Please inspect my scalp before I lose my mind." Which brings us back to the nose. Because all of this, the pain, the sleeplessness, the parasites, the constant scanning for danger, was tied together by smell in a way that is almost impossible for modern humans to understand. Ancient humans could smell danger before they saw it. Rot, disease, bad water, predators, a wound going bad, a person getting sick. The smell of smoke meant safety. The smell of rain meant water nearby. The smell of certain plants meant medicine. Their entire world was organized around scent in a way that we have almost completely lost. And here is the thing that should really mess with your head. To an ancient human, you would smell absolutely insane. Think about it. You wake up and shower with chemically scented soap. You wash your hair with shampoo that contains a dozen synthetic fragrances. You put on deodorant. You brush your teeth with mint-flavored paste. Your clothes have been washed in detergent and fabric softener. You might add cologne or perfume. Your entire body is a chemical storm of artificial scents designed to mask the fact that you are a biological organism. To someone from deep history, you would not smell clean. You would smell poisonous. You would smell like something that should not be approached or eaten. And yet, their version of clean was also completely alien to us. Ancient humans probably smelled like smoke and earth and sweat and animal hides and cooked meat and rain and skin after living. Not hidden, not sprayed away, not sealed under layers of modern products, just present. The smell was not a failure of hygiene. It was information. It told you where they had been, what they had eaten, whether they were healthy, whether they were afraid, whether they belonged to your group or a different one. Their bodies were broadcasting data constantly, and everyone around them could read it. We think of ancient humans as primitive because they did not have soap. But the truth is, they had something we have lost. They had a relationship with their own bodies and their environment that was so intimate, so attuned, that they could survive conditions that would kill most modern people in a matter of days. They could read the world through their senses in a way that we have outsourced to technology. And that ability, that terrifying, profound, almost supernatural awareness, is what kept them alive through ice ages and predator-filled nights and diseases we cannot even name. Ancient humans were not primitive. They were survivors in a world designed to kill them, and they won. Generation after generation, through pain and parasites and sleepless nights and predators in the dark, they refused to surrender. They passed that determination down through thousands of lifetimes until it reached you. The next time you complain about a slow internet connection or a bad night's sleep, remember what your ancestors endured just to exist. They wore the dead. They slept inside skeletons. They read the world through their noses and survived conditions that wiped out entire other species of humans. And the only reason you are here, warm and safe, and reading a screen that would look like sorcery to them, is because they never stopped fighting. If this changed how you think about ancient humans, hit subscribe. This channel digs into the parts of history that mainstream education skips over entirely. The dark, the strange, the terrifying, and the true. Drop a comment. What is one modern comfort you genuinely do not think you could survive without? I read every single one.